Hi, and welcome back to Focal Point AFR Talk. Brian Fisher is my name, talking about this Fourth Amendment travesty, this NSA surveillance program. And ladies and gentlemen, there just is no way to minimize the enormity of what's being done to us here. And the fact that you have so many Republicans that are blasé about that and are actually defending this program, it just kind of beggars belief. And, as Rand Paul says, let's just read the Constitution. That's all you got to do here. And it's just like with all of life, we take the Bible and we put the Bible here and we put the behavior, the conduct, the whatever, we lay it alongside each other and see if it matches. If it doesn't match, we reject it. Well, we do the same thing in our political life with the Constitution. That is the Bible of a shared public life. So we lay that down, then we lay the conduct, and we measure the two against each other. If it doesn't measure up, then we reject it. I mean, you can't take the Fourth Amendment and lay it down on the table and put this NSA surveillance program on the same table side by side and say that they look anything like each other. They don't. And so it's just kind of dismal that you've actually got Republicans that are out there trying to defend this thing. Now, James Sensenbrenner, he's the guy that authored the Patriot Act. He says, look, this is not what it was intended to do. This is an overreach. This is egregious. In fact, he himself said that he was not briefed on this. And he's the guy that wrote the act that provided the foundation for this kind of surveillance to take place. And don't forget, the kind of surveillance under Bush was different. That was foreign surveillance. It was not domestic surveillance. I mean, the only way domestic came in is somebody from overseas was talking to you, and this person from overseas was a suspicious character. We had reason to believe he was up to no good. Then, yeah, we're going to be interested in why he's calling you. But it was foreign surveillance. That's what it was about. What Obama's turned it into is domestic surveillance, domestic spying. Now this James Clapper, we played the soundbite from you the other day where he was asked point blank by Ron Wyden, is the NSA collecting this data on American phone calls and emails? He said flatly no, not doing it. We had another guy, the director of the NSA. Clapper is the director of national intelligence. The director of the NSA said, no, we didn't have the capacity to do it. We didn't have the technology to do it. We couldn't do it even if we wanted to. Now we find out both of them are completely lying, absolutely through their teeth. And it turns out that when Ron Wyden asked that question of James Clapper, he had sent him that question a day ahead of time. He wanted to give him an opportunity to prepare to answer that question. So, and he said this, he issued a statement today, it was necessary to put the question to the Director of National Intelligence. Are you collecting data on phone calls and emails? And he flatly denied it. So that he would be prepared to answer, I sent the question to Director Clapper's office a day in advance. After the hearing was over, my staff and I gave his office a chance to amend his answer. And he lied. And he didn't correct it. And he could have done that without any penalty, but he didn't do it. So Wyden is thinking about some kind of perjury pursuit, investigation into what Clapper said. And Clapper was asked about this, and you know what he said? This is NBC News asked him on Sunday, and he said, I responded in what I thought was the most truthful or least untruthful manner by saying no. So Clapper says this was the least untruthful response I could have made. What does that mean? Well, it means it was untruthful. And there were parts of it were just flat out lies. It was the least untruthful response I could come up with under the circumstances. Now, I want to play that montage. CNN put it together. Bush speaking and Obama speaking. Now, here's the thing that I want you to realize here. Here's what I want you to get. And I'll kind of give it away before we listen to it. But remember that Obama campaigned against Bush. I'm not going to be Bush. I'm going to be the non-Bush. I'm going to be the anti-Bush. Bush was Hitler. I'm going to be the anti-Hitler. I'm going to be the anti-Bush. I'm going to end all this surveillance program that the Bush administration has done. I'm going to clear out Guantanamo Bay. I'm not going to be anything like George Bush. George Bush is the polar opposite of what I'm going to be. Now, here's the point. CNN doesn't even realize what they're doing. Notice what they're doing. They are defending Barack Obama by saying that he sounds just like George Bush. So it's no longer a criminal thing in the minds of the mainstream media to do Bush, to sound like Bush, to be Bush, to talk like Bush, to do the things that Bush did. Now it is your vindication. So this is kind of a striking turn of events here. They are so desperate to prop up Barack Obama, they are defending him by saying that he sounds like a guy that they thought of as Hitler. Let's listen.
Nobody's listening to the content of people's phone calls. This program, by the way, is fully overseen not just by Congress, but by the FISA court.
We'll continue to work with the Congress, as well as people within our own administration, to constantly monitor a program such as the one I've described to you.
A court specially put together to evaluate classified programs to make sure that the executive branch or government generally is not abusing them and that it's being carried out consistent with the Constitution.
To make sure that we're protecting the civil liberties of the United States. To say unchecked power basically is ascribing some kind of dictatorial position to the president, which I strongly reject.
They're not secret in the sense that when it comes to telephone calls, every member of Congress has been briefed on this program. With respect to all these programs, the relevant intelligence committees are fully briefed on these programs.
There is oversight. We're talking to Congress all the time. And on this program, to suggest there's unchecked power is not listening to what I'm telling you. I'm telling you we have briefed the United States Congress on this program a dozen times.
These are programs authorized by broad bipartisan majorities repeatedly since 2006.
All right, so that's the left defending Obama by saying he sounds just exactly like George Bush. 888-589-8840 is the number to call if you'd like to join the conversation. 888-589-8840. Let's squeeze in one more soundbite. This is Ted Cruz clip number 7. And Ted Cruz is talking in this, making a sweeping indictment of the Obama administration for ignoring about half of the Bill of Rights. Let's listen.
The Bill of Rights is at the heart of our system of government. Yet the Obama administration, sadly, often seems willing to circumvent our constitutional rights. Whether it's the First Amendment and the seizing of journalists' phone records, or threatening to punish armed service members who speak openly about their faith. Whether it's the Second Amendment and the administration's desire to restrict our right to keep and bear arms. Or whether it's the Fourth and Fifth Amendments and the administration's policy on drone use against American citizens. And now we learn that the government has been collecting millions of U.S. telephone records. While the details are unclear, this fits into a troubling pattern of disregarding the Bill of Rights. Congress must do its part to rein in these abuses, but citizens of every stripe need to make their voices heard.
That is Ted Cruz, who is the man. Let's go to Dave in Hope. Dave, welcome to the Show on Your Mind.
Oh, hello. I want to God bless you and AFR and just keep on keeping on.
We'll do it. Thank you very much.
In Saturday's Wall Street Journal, the Barack Obama is, according to them, he said that this whole debacle, he referred to it as a moderate encroachment.
Yes.
And the very word encroachment should tell him and anyone else that he's kind of stepping over the line.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? He just admits that he's encroaching where he doesn't belong and where the government doesn't belong.
Yes, and I wanted to throw one other heads up in today's Wall Street Journal. Rand Paul has a good slammer on the Big Brother, aspect of it.
Yeah.
That's a good read. If you get a hold of a Wall Street Journal, it's worth reading.
Yeah. Well, and that encroachment business, when I played the Rand Paul soundbite, President Obama used the phrase moderate encroachment. And I'm looking at the definition of encroachment, just looked it up when you called. And the synonyms for encroachment are invasion, inroad, or infringement. Encroachment is an instance or act of encroaching. The verb encroach means to take another's possessions or rights gradually or stealthily, for example, by encroaching on a neighbor's land.
He's kind of fessing up when he said that, isn't he?
So he's admitting it, doesn't it? To advance beyond proper limits. That's what encroachment means.
Okay.
And so he said, it's just a little bit of that. Don't worry about it. It's not a biggie, not a big encroachment, just a little encroachment. But Rand Paul's point is, hey, this doesn't sound like a modest encroachment to me when you're collecting data on every single phone call that every single American makes. All right, Dave, listen, I appreciate the call. Thank you for that. Let's go to Ricky, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Ricky, welcome to Focal Point. What's on your mind?
Thank you, Brian. Appreciate it. I want to comment on the reason why Obama is doing surveillance as opposed to Bush doing foreign. Bush believed our enemies were foreign. Obama believes his enemies are Christian Americans because he's a communist Muslim, so his enemies are Christian America. If nobody believes that, they don't even have a pea brain to put the two together. I mean, I've been saying for 4 years Obama's a communist Muslim. Now, certain people higher up are finally starting to catch on, and it's just that God showed me what he was 4 years ago.
Yeah.
A communist Muslim. That's why he makes war with Christian America. He's at war. That's Obama's holy jihad against Christian America. That if you understand that, you understand everything else that Obama's doing. It makes perfectly sense as long as you understand he's on the holy jihad against Christian America. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate it.
Okay, Ricky, appreciate that. And I think a lot of what Ricky had to say is exactly right. I mean, this is the most virulently anti-Christian, anti-Christ, anti-God administration we've ever had in American history. It's anti-Semitic. And he's clearly, whether he's a Muslim or not, we may not know that until it's too late to matter, but he clearly has Muslim sympathies, far more sympathetic to Islam than he is to Christianity. Never said a kind word about Christianity in my experience, but he can't say enough wonderful things about Islam, fancy Ramadan dinners and all that kind of thing. And, we had a foreign minister from Egypt. And again, this is kind of a he said thing, but this foreign minister of Egypt said that Barack Obama told him to his face back in 2010 that he was a Muslim. And what he said to this foreign minister, according to the foreign minister, Obama told him, look, I'm a Muslim. I can't kind of go public with that, but you'll see what I'm talking about in time. In this business about, and I think it's a profound insight that for Bush, our enemies were foreign. For Obama, his enemies, it's about his enemies, not America's enemies. His enemies are domestic, and his enemies are evangelical Christians. And you see that in the way the military is demonizing Christians and evangelicals and going after them, including American Family Association by name, back in 2.